Hi. Before I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? I basically asked myself a pretty extreme question, and which was that if, God forbid, if I didn't wake up in the morning, what would a message be that I would want to share with the world? And that would be forgiveness. And I'm talking tonight about self forgiveness. And it's funny because I was thinking, wow, that's so extreme. And I was like, yeah, but sometimes those extreme things kind of put things in perspective. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about is self-forgiveness. Now this past weekend, there were some holidays. I was by my brother's house and I was with my nephew and my niece, and they are so precious and they're gorgeous and they're 3 and 5 years old. And it is so therapeutic to be around small children. They are so connected and they are so present. And I think that's why it's just so refreshing to be around small children. And I am so grateful that today I'm in a state of just really, I guess the word sanity comes to mind, because what happened is that I was remembering how I did not have patience when my children were 3 and 5 years old. And not only did I not have patience, I had a lot of rage, I had a lot of resentments, there was a lot of problems. They were very, very small. I think at that point when they were 3 and 5, I had just, I think their father, I'm divorced, and a year after I got divorced, their father took his life. He was also had a problem with drug addiction, and he became psychotic. He was very, very ill. And I came from a home that there was a lot of domestic violence, and I had the bug. I had the rage bug myself, and that was one thing that was never fully healed in me. And then when all of this tragedy happened, and when I thought that my life was going to turn out one way, and it turned out completely not that way. I was filled with impatience, and there was rage, and there was also a lot of good stuff. There was also a lot of love, and there was also a lot of fun that I had with my children. But I also do know the depths of my own insanity, and how, unfortunately, because I didn't get myself the help that I needed at that time. I mean, I got myself the help I needed for the situation, but it was much deeper. And thank God I had gotten myself help as time went on. But the point on what I'm saying is that whatever is not healed in me will come out on other people, and it had come out on my own children. And as I was holding my little nephew's hands, he was 5 years old, and I was like, I had so much patience and so much love for him, and I'm in a completely different space that I was when my own children were that young. And I had this grief, like this feeling come over me of unforgiveness, of, oh my gosh, like this is how little they were, and I yelled and all of this stuff. And I remember thinking that right at that moment, I have a choice. I could continue to go down that road of grief and depression. And yes, there definitely is a time and a space to feel the pain so that way it could be let go. But I've already done this. Like, I've already done the work on this. And at this point, it really was just forgiveness that needed to happen. And it's not serving me anymore to go into that, because then I'm not in the present moment. I'm not with my nephew. And by the way, thank God I still have my kids with me. They're 14 and 15 years old. They really need a mom who can forgive herself. And part of that is because I want them to know that if they make mistakes, I want them to be living in a way that they can also forgive themselves. And by me not forgiving myself, what am I teaching my own children? And I don't even have to say it, because as a parent, kids know everything, because they pick up on who you are, not what you say. They are so smart. And so I was at that crossroad where I just felt this very intense feelings of grief or sadness. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And I was just able to surrender and just say, this is too big for me. God, you take this. And I just heard something really beautiful on surrender. That surrender is not giving up. It's allowing. And I thought that was very beautiful, even though many times when I do need to surrender, it is like, I give up, God, I'm done. But this idea of allowing was so beautiful, because what ended up happening is that feeling of unforgiveness lifted because I was willing to give it away. I was willing not to hold on to it. And holding on to it actually is egotistical of me. And holding on to unforgiveness is egotistical. Why? Because when we know better, we do better. If I knew better, I would have done better. If you would have known better, you would do better in whatever it is that you might have any regrets about in your own life. And to know that there is this power in this world that can heal you and that can take it away. Whatever it is, what I have realized is that there could be healing. There is a healing power that knows how to heal us the same way it knows how to heal us physically. If you break a bone, somehow the bone knows how to heal itself. Just put some plaster on it, get it in a secure position, and then it will heal. You have a cut, put a Band-Aid on it, the skin will come together and heal. This life force that we have knows how to heal us, also emotionally. And part of that healing is forgiveness. And where in your life are you not forgiving yourself and giving yourself the ability and the space to move forward? It reminds me, this morning I was on the train and I met a lady who I know from the community. And God bless her, she has more than 10 children. She was running into work, into the office, and she's an hour away, back and forth, both ways. And I can feel on her the heaviness that she had in her heart. We got into a conversation. Part of it was that she's not even in control of her life. Like, she has this pressure to go into the office, and she at one point had her own business, and she just had this feeling of, well, I could have had my own business, I could have done something, but I didn't, as if it was all over for her. And how is this even tying in? I think it's just tying in because of this heaviness, this wanting to hold on to the past that doesn't exist anymore. And by doing that, we're creating blockages. However, by surrendering, by letting go, by forgiving ourselves, by forgiving others, I want to say, by falling in love with that part of me that's in pain, falling in love with that part of you that is not perfect, that is here actually to learn lessons and to grow from it. And every single thing is a learning experience. And the past doesn't even exist anymore. It actually is just the present moment that we have. And this woman, she's actually at a great time in her life if you were to see it in the way that I saw it. But she doesn't see it that way. That she's at a great place, that she's able to create, if she wanted to create a life, or to work, or to do something different. There's always options, and there's always a way when there's a will. That's what I know to be true when I connect into the power, into my own intuition, that silence that knows how to heal me, that silence that knows how to heal you. The silence, I'm talking about the silence, it's because there's so many answers in silence. When there's silence, answers are actually able to come. Healing is able to come in silence. That's what I have realized. And part of me thought, if she would just sit in silence for a little bit. We actually didn't have so much more time on the train, but there were so many thoughts that I had that just sitting in the silence, I know she would get more clarity on her own life, and possibly, hopefully, some forgiveness in her own life for how she was with her own kids. We talked about that a little bit also. I think that's why it's tying in, and it was for different reasons. And that's my message. This is what we need. I think so much, there's so much healing that needs to take place in the world. And there is a slogan, it's called "Let It Begin With Me." So that's where it needs to start. It always starts right here. And it's the willingness to let go. It's the willingness to let go and make space. That there is this power that is greater than us, that is, as I said in my previous video, that is growing the trees, that's growing the grass, that's breathing, that's involuntarily breathing through you, that's beating your heart, that wants to heal you and wants you to participate in that part of your healing. And I think sometimes the resistance to sitting in silence is because it actually allows us to face ourselves. And we're scared of ourselves. So, but my suggestion is that's actually to go into the fear, love the fear, and sit in silence anyway. Face yourself, you're not alone. Because when you're sitting in silence, you're not alone. You're with the power that is creating you, and that's healing you at that exact moment. So forgive yourself, create the space, give it up, give it up, allow what is to be, give it up, make space, and get into more alignment with your soul. And if you would like to discuss anything that I've said further, if anything resonates with you, please do not hesitate to message me. God bless.